His confidence evaporates. The game disappears in one quiet breath. Because he just understood something that terrifies him. She was never playing. Not once. Why? Because she refuses to perform. Her presence alone demands that he stop running. She does not chase approval or orbit around someone else's attention. She does not need to. She is the standard. She stands like silence in a world drowning in noise, and that is the exact moment he knows he has encountered something rare. She is not more aggressive, more difficult, or more dramatic. She is different because she carries a stillness nearly extinct in a world addicted to chaos. Her energy operates like a mirror, reflecting his truest self, perhaps for the very first time. Carl Jung observed that there is nothing more frightening than fully accepting who you are. What unsettles a man standing before a woman like this is not her power over him, but what she pulls out from within his own soul. She forces him to look directly at the parts of his life he has been running from. While the rest of the world screams to be noticed, she moves with quiet certainty. While others panic for immediate answers, she rests in the wisdom of patience. While others beg to be chosen, she has already chosen herself. And that energy, genuine, grounded, and unshakably calm, pushes a man to either rise or walk away. There is no middle ground because a woman like this does not compete. She does not argue. She does not perform. She simply exists. And that existence carries more force than any game ever could. Composure is the first quality that separates an ordinary woman from one who leaves a permanent mark on a man's soul. It is not about being emotionally cold or pretending not to feel. It is about mastery. It is about understanding that emotions are signals, not commands. It is about knowing that silence speaks louder than shouting, and stillness can shake a man far more deeply than any storm. When a man meets a woman who does not react impulsively, who does not spiral into panic or insecurity, who does not let every small action define her sense of worth, he becomes unsettled because most people are trained to expect intensity, arguments, jealousy, and emotional chasing. He expects a storm, but instead he is met with clear skies, a horizon he did not know how to stand beneath. He expects arguments, and she responds with clarity. He expects emotional chaos, and she offers stability. He expects fear, and she carries certainty. In a culture where emotional drama is mistaken for passion, peace stands out like a quiet revolution. A woman who remains composed, who owns her emotional responses instead of being controlled by them, communicates something powerful without ever opening her mouth. She has self-mastery. She is not ruled by moods, anxiety, or ego. She decides how she moves, not her fears, not his behavior, not the pressure around her. She is not reactive. She is intentional. Her actions do not come from panic, but from purpose. Her silence is not withdrawal, it is wisdom. That kind of composure is magnetic. It completely disarms him because it shows that she is not reacting to him. She is responding from within herself. People who operate from ego need to win arguments, prove points, and defend themselves endlessly. They play games to gain control, but she does not play. She allows time and truth to reveal everything. She lets people show who they truly are while she stays rooted in who she is. That steadiness, graceful, poised, unshaken, transforms him. He realizes he cannot provoke her, manipulate her, or control her through emotional pressure. She is the calm in the storm, not the storm itself. And the world is deeply hungry for calm. Her composure shows that she is not drawn to chaos. She does not confuse intensity with intimacy. She understands that love is not loud. It is consistent. It is steady. It is peace. So when he tries to create insecurity through silence, distance, or emotional inconsistency, she does not break. She does not fall apart. She simply observes. She breathes. She holds her energy. And that is when everything shifts. That is when he realizes he cannot shake her. He is not dealing with someone emotionally fragile. He is dealing with someone emotionally sovereign. Someone who has understood that the loudest person is not the strongest. The strongest is the one who stays centered when the world is spinning. He is used to women matching his intensity with more intensity. He is used to confusion breeding more confusion. He is used to emotional chaos, but she is a mirror. He did not expect a clear and honest one. His own reflection becomes impossible to ignore. When she stays composed, she shatters the entire pattern. He begins to realize she does not seek control. She already has it, not over him but over herself, not arrogance but awareness. She does not need to win through words, she wins through presence, and that presence has undeniable weight. It is felt in the silence between messages, in the length of her pauses, in the steady calm of her gaze. Her peace becomes louder than any argument could ever be. In those moments of testing, whether deliberate or not, her composure becomes a quiet lesson. Every time she remains calm, she wordlessly shows him that maturity is not domination. It is discipline. It is emotional responsibility. It is the ability to pause instead of explode, to respond instead of react. She shows him that peace is not weakness. It is power built through self-awareness, because real strength is not loud. Real strength does not need an audience. Real strength whispers in silence and roars in restraint. And when he realizes her calm does not come from not caring but from balance, from having done the inner work he avoided, he begins to truly respect her. Even if he does not fully understand her yet, he feels her. He feels her depth, her stillness, her quiet but unshakable force. Her composure creates mystery. In a world addicted to oversharing, overreacting, and constantly proving one's identity, a woman who moves with quiet purpose stands completely apart. She becomes unforgettable because he cannot predict her. He cannot decode her. He cannot read her the way he reads everyone else. Her depth makes him slow down. It makes him think. It makes him face himself. And that is exactly where transformation begins. Because the most powerful women are not the loudest. They are the ones who carry silence like a sword. Depth is one of the rarest qualities a woman can carry. It is not loud. It is not displayed. It is not performed. It is felt. It lives beneath the surface, beneath the noise, beneath the shallow layers where most people exist. Depth is the quiet, grounded strength that turns a moment into meaning, a conversation into reflection, a connection into transformation. When a man encounters a woman with true depth, something stirs inside him. It is not lust. It is not excitement. It is not adrenaline. It is awakening. Depth forces him to look beyond surface-level attraction. It challenges him to look inward instead of outward. It invites him to think instead of react. Carl Jung wrote that your vision will become clear only when you look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. That is what a woman of depth does. She awakens something that has been dormant inside him. She calls out the part of him that has been moving through life half asleep, the part that longs for meaning, for purpose, for truth. She does not impress him with appearance, status, or noise. She impresses him with silence, with reflection, with genuine curiosity. She asks questions that other people are too afraid to ask, not to challenge him, but to truly understand. She listens in a way that makes him feel genuinely heard for the first time. She speaks in a way that commands his full attention. She thinks before she responds. She processes, reflects, and observes. She brings awareness where others bring distraction. Where others gossip, she reflects. Where others complain, she seeks to understand. Where others rush to be loud, she chooses to be real. And a man feels that contrast immediately. In her presence, the energy transforms. Time slows. He realizes he is not speaking to someone who wants to fill silence. He is speaking to someone who honors it, someone who understands that silence holds truths that words sometimes destroy. A woman with depth is not afraid of emotional complexity. She does not run from uncomfortable conversations. She knows that growth does not happen in comfort. She understands that intimacy is not built on excitement or performance, but on honesty, vulnerability, and genuine reflection. She asks him what he believes, what he values, what he fears, what he dreams of, not to judge him but to truly know him. And for the first time he feels seen, not for who he pretends to be, but for who he actually is. Depth is emotional intelligence. It is the ability to read what is not spoken. She hears the silence in his voice. She notices the tension in his posture. She recognizes when he is speaking from pain rather than anger, from fear rather than distance, from ego rather than truth. She can sense the difference between avoidance and peace, between detachment and self-protection, between affection and possession. And that kind of perception is rare. It is completely disarming. She does not react to flaws, she understands where they came from. She does not judge, she observes, she does not shame, she seeks clarity. That awareness is not softness, it is wisdom, it is the maturity to stay compassionate instead of competitive. It is the emotional strength to hold space instead of controlling outcomes. It is the patience to understand rather than assume. And men feel safe in the presence of that depth, safe to open up, safe to speak freely, safe to remove the armor that the world taught them to wear. Because she does not use vulnerability as a weapon, she uses it as a bridge. Depth transforms a man. It elevates him. It raises his standard. It makes him realize how shallow his past connections truly were. A man cannot return to something superficial once he has experienced something truly meaningful. And that is why he cannot forget her, because she changed him without even trying to, because she revealed a version of himself that he wants to hold on to. Depth also means patience. She does not rush connection. She does not chase intensity. She lets things unfold naturally. She knows that real intimacy is not built in speed but in consistency. She holds space for growth instead of demanding perfection. She allows silence instead of forcing constant stimulation. She understands that some of the strongest bonds are built not in noise but in quiet presence. Carl Jung said that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will run your life and you will call it fate. A woman with depth brings consciousness into connection. She does not let emotional patterns run blindly. She helps bring light to them with patience instead of pressure, with reflection instead of blame. Depth is not perfection. It is experience turned into wisdom. It is pain turned into perspective. It is healing turned into strength. She has felt heartbreak. She has felt disappointment. She has known loss. But instead of letting those experiences harden her, she allowed them to deepen her. She went inward. She asked the hard questions. She rebuilt herself from within. And because of that, she does not fear imperfection. She values authenticity over performance, truth over illusion, substance over appearance. Her words carry weight because they were earned, not borrowed. She speaks from lived truth, not theory. She loves with intention, not fear. Men can sense authenticity. They can feel when a woman is pretending to have depth and when she truly does. Real depth does not need to be announced. It reveals itself without effort. It appears in her silence, in her pauses, in her eyes, in the way she chooses what matters and quietly walks away from what does not. Depth changes the rhythm of every relationship she steps into. It slows things down. It makes them real. In her presence he becomes more thoughtful, more intentional, more self-aware. She encourages growth, not with pressure, but with example. She does not say, "Be better." She makes him question why he is not. She becomes the mirror that shows him who he could be. Because that is what depth does. It awakens more depth. And once a man has been awakened, he can no longer go back to sleep. Once he has experienced meaning, he cannot be satisfied with distraction. Once he has met a woman who lives from soul rather than ego, he can no longer desire a connection built on performance. He understands that she is different, not because she tries to be, but because she has truly become. She is a product of self-discovery, self-mastery, and self-awareness. She does not demand depth, she embodies it. She does not force connection, she cultivates it. And that is why he cannot forget her. Because she did not just touch his heart, she touched his mind. She made him think, she made him feel, she made him see, she made him grow. And that changes absolutely everything. Boundaries are one of the most powerful and defining qualities of a woman who has mastered herself. They are not walls built from fear or pride. They are the structure that protects peace, honors self-respect, and preserves emotional dignity. They are not aggressive, not defensive, not meant to punish. They are clarity. And clarity is rare in a world addicted to confusion. When a man meets a woman with firm, healthy boundaries, he feels something he is not accustomed to: accountability. He instantly realizes that excuses, manipulation, charm, and inconsistency have no power here. Because a woman with boundaries does not chase. She does not beg. She does not negotiate with disrespect. She chooses. She chooses peace over chaos, self-respect over attention, truth over comfort, and alignment over attachment. Her boundaries speak long before her words ever do. She does not need to announce her standards. They are visible in the way she moves, the way she responds, the way she quietly removes herself from situations that do not honor her. She does not argue when someone shows her who they are. She observes, she accepts, and she acts accordingly. While others react emotionally when a boundary is crossed, she responds with stillness. She does not yell, she does not plead, she does not try to rewrite someone's character. She simply steps back. She returns to herself. She chooses silence not as avoidance but as strength, because silence from a woman who respects herself speaks louder than any confrontation ever could, because silence says, I will not fight to be valued, I already know my worth, and that realization shifts something in a man. He suddenly understands that if he loses her, it will not be because she did not love him, it will be because he failed to match her strength. He realizes he cannot play with her emotions because she lives from principles, not impulses. He cannot shake her with distance because she does not fall apart in solitude. He cannot silence her with quiet because she is at home in her own stillness. A woman with boundaries does not fear losing someone. She fears losing herself. That is why she walks away quietly when something violates her peace. Not out of spite, not to create a reaction, but out of wisdom. She knows that energy does not lie. She knows disrespect does not repair itself. She knows that love without respect is dependency, not devotion. She would rather leave with her dignity than stay and abandon who she is. And that decision, calm, firm, and final, forces a man to face the truth of who he really is. Because boundaries reveal everything. They expose intentions immediately. A man with genuine intentions respects them. A man with hidden motives resents them. A man with integrity rises to meet them. A man with ego tries to tear them down. Boundaries work as a filter without her lifting a single finger. A woman with boundaries does not need to explain her standards to someone unwilling to meet them. She does not need to justify her expectations. She does not need permission to protect her peace. She operates from truth, not ego, from strength, not fear. And that strength is magnetic because she is not afraid of being alone. She knows solitude is better than company that makes her feel smaller. She knows solitude is a sanctuary, not a prison. She knows loneliness is not the absence of people. It is the absence of self. She has done the inner work. She has met herself, and she refuses to surrender that relationship for shallow connections. Carl Jung once wrote that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. A woman with boundaries has done exactly that. She has become someone she deeply respects, and because she respects herself, others must respect her too. Her boundaries teach people how to treat her, not through threats but through behavior. She does not punish. She does not lecture. She simply removes access from those who misuse it. She knows that her time and energy are earned, not owed. That true closeness is built, not assumed. That trust must be demonstrated through actions, not just words. She is not afraid to say no, not afraid to require consistency, not afraid to walk away from half efforts dressed up as love. She does not confuse chemistry with compatibility. She does not romanticize potential. She watches for action. She does not fall in love with words. She falls in love with character. A woman with boundaries does not stay where she is merely tolerated. She belongs where she is genuinely valued. And that is what makes her unforgettable, because she shows something most people never witness. The combination of softness and strength. She can be compassionate without becoming a doormat. She can forgive without allowing continued access. She can love deeply without abandoning her self-respect. She can say, I care for you, and in the same breath say, but I will not participate in something that causes me pain. A man who values her will rise not because she demands it, but because she inspires it. A man who does not will disappear, and either outcome brings her peace. Boundaries transform relationships. They turn emotion into structure, love into respect, connection into growth. They show both people what truly matters. They deepen closeness rather than limit it. Because real love flourishes where clarity exists. A woman with boundaries does not fear losing the wrong man. She fears losing herself before the right one arrives. And that inner strength is what distinguishes her, because the world is full of women who bend themselves to be loved. But a woman with boundaries is different. She stands tall. She stands grounded. She stands whole. She waits for love that fits rather than love that demands she surrender who she is. And once a man meets that kind of woman, he recognizes that she is not like the others. She is the standard. She is the mirror. She is the awakening. She is the one who teaches him what real respect looks like, not through force but through presence. He understands that losing her would not be an accident. It would be the cost of his own refusal to grow, and that realization stays with him long after she is gone. Because you do not forget someone who taught you how to value yourself. You do not forget someone who showed you what meaningful connection truly requires. You do not forget a woman with boundaries. Independence is one of the most magnetic and misunderstood forms of strength a woman can carry. It is not coldness. It is not detachment. It is not the rejection of love or the performance of being untouchable. True independence is her wholeness. It is the quiet knowing that she is complete within herself, that she does not need anyone to fill her, rescue her, or define her. She chooses love from a place of fullness, not emptiness. When a man meets a woman rooted in that kind of independence, he feels something he cannot quite name. It is not intimidation. It is deep respect. It is the awareness that she lives from a place within herself that nothing can shake. She does not cling. She does not grasp. She does not chase. She draws people in through alignment and through purpose, through presence. She wants a partner, not a safety net, not a rescuer, not an escape. She is not afraid of loving deeply, but she will never lose herself in the process. She does not disappear into a relationship. She remains herself within it. She brings a full life, not an emptiness. She brings passion, not need. She brings peace, not chaos. Her independence is not a wall against love. It is the very foundation that makes love stronger. A truly independent woman does not define herself through a man's attention, affection, or approval. She understands those things are additions to her life, not the source of it. She does not lose her identity in connection. She expands it. She does not fall apart when someone pulls away. She stays grounded, centered, and calm. She continues living, dreaming, and building. She does not put her life on hold waiting for someone to choose her. She has already chosen herself. And that emotional steadiness is rare. It shows that her happiness is not borrowed from someone else. It is built from within. She has learned how to enjoy her own company. She has learned how to sit with silence without fear. She has learned how to grow on her own. She does not fear solitude. She values it. She uses it to reflect, to go deeper, to come back to herself. She knows that no relationship will ever feel truly peaceful if she cannot find peace when she is alone. He notices quickly that she does not panic when he pulls back. She does not crumble in moments of uncertainty. She does not ask for constant reassurance because she knows that reassurance requested under pressure carries no real meaning. She trusts the process. She trusts clarity. She trusts herself. She knows that if something is truly meant for her, it will never require her to sacrifice her dignity to keep it. She is not impressed by sudden intense feelings. She looks for consistency. She is not drawn in by empty promises. She watches patterns. She is not blinded by potential. She pays attention to what is actually present. That level of emotional independence commands deep respect. Her independence is not ego. It is self-respect combined with self-awareness. She does not expect someone else to heal what she has not faced herself. She does not place the weight of her wounds onto others. She does the work. She grows. She learns. She evolves because she understands that love is not built on dependency. It is built on genuine partnership. And a man who meets a woman like that begins to look honestly at himself. He starts to wonder if he is living with the same level of purpose, direction, and identity. He begins to see where he has been escaping instead of evolving, where he has been leaning instead of rising. Her strength does not compete with him. It calls him into his own. There is a real difference between independence that comes from pain and independence that comes from healing. The first builds walls. The second builds foundations. The first pushes love away. The second strengthens it. He can feel that difference. She is not independent because she refuses to need anyone. She is independent because she refuses to betray herself. She does not hold back warmth to gain power. She gives freely but wisely. Her independence makes her fascinating, not because she is hiding anything, but because she is already fulfilled. She is not waiting for someone to arrive and give her life meaning. She is too busy creating her own meaning. She is not expecting someone else to bring excitement into her world. She creates her own joy. She is not searching to feel complete. She is already whole. That kind of woman completely transforms the energy of a relationship. She does not drain energy. She inspires it. She does not control. She cooperates. She does not demand effort. She returns it. She does not fall apart under pressure. She rises through it. She is not impressed by possession. She values real partnership. She is not moved by promises. She watches consistency. She is not drawn to control. She honors mutual respect. A man quickly understands that he cannot show up small with her. He cannot be inconsistent or emotionally careless. She will not settle for half love or half effort, not because she is demanding, but because she knows her worth. She knows what she brings. Peace, integrity, and those things are rare. She will not allow a relationship to slowly strip away what she has spent years carefully building. Her independence also reshapes what femininity means. She does not see strength and softness as opposites. She carries both. She can be nurturing without being submissive. She can be gentle without being fragile. She can be soft without being breakable. She can love without losing her freedom. She has learned that real connection does not require losing yourself. It requires becoming more of yourself. And when a man realizes that she is with him, not because she needs him but because she genuinely chooses him, everything shifts. It becomes a relationship not of control but of respect, not of anxiety but of trust, not of dependence but of true partnership. Carl Jung said, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." A woman with independence has chosen who she wants to be. She has shaped herself with care and intention. She has turned pain into wisdom, solitude into peace, and reflection into strength. And that strength is magnetic. It is quiet. It is steady. It is humbling. Because while many people chase love to escape feeling empty, she carries love within herself. She does not need a relationship to feel whole. She only welcomes relationships that protect that wholeness. And when a man sees that, he understands that she is not like other women. She is rare. She is whole. She is complete. And that completeness is what makes her love the rarest and most valuable thing he will ever experience. Because she does not love from fear, she loves from freedom. And love born from freedom is something you never forget. Softness is one of the most misunderstood and most powerful forms of strength a woman can carry. The world often teaches us that power must be loud, forceful, and unyielding, that to be respected, one must be hard, guarded, and untouchable. But a woman who has walked through difficulty, healed herself,